It's a new day and it's a new morning to start, a new fresh and timely topic.
Hello, Philippines!
And hello world, I am your host, Aliana Lee.
And I am Atina Mendoza.
Welcome to
AFM Weekly.
Before we introduce our guest speakers for today, let's watch a short clip that will give us a hint of what the topic for today is.
So, does anyone knows this show? How about you, Aliana? Have you watched this series?
Oh yes, Money Heist or La Casa de Papel is a Spanish heist crime television series. The series traces two long-period heists led by the Professor, aka Alvaro Morte, slash the main character, performed on the Royal Mint of Spain and the other one on the Bank of Spain.
Interesting, but we aren't going to talk about robbery today, aren't we?
Oh, of course not, because we are going to talk about the main location of where the series of heists takes place. And you guessed it,
The bank.
The evolution of banking. From trading shells for goods to sending digital currencies around the globe, developments in technology are reflected in banking. Money first arrived in the form we recognise now in 600 BC. Fast forward to 12th century Italy, and people finally stopped storing their cash under their pillow, with the first official banks established. It wasn't until 1967, with the first ATM installed in North London, that digital technology really started to affect banking. The digital revolution continued, with early mobile banking, followed by contactless payment cards in the UK, making your money easier and more convenient to access. Right now, our wallets are being digitised, with payment information being carried on phones and devices instead. The speed and ease of managing money will continue to increase, with banking becoming more accessible around the globe. One thing is certain, wherever technology goes, money and banking will be close behind.
Now that the clip is done rolling, let us now introduce our guest speakers for today to talk about the topic, the top 10 most sensational milestones and breakthroughs in banking history of the world. Let us all welcome Mr. Stephen Lucia, Mr. Jerome Salapong, and Ms. Janine Salinas.
so our topic for today would be a big help to everyone, since people these days are using banking, whether it's online or not. Through today's talk, this would add additional information and trivia about banking and its milestone that the people don't know about.
You know, Aliana, that over the years, banking institutions were created to accept deposits and provide loans to the public. And also, the first bank was established in the 13th century, which was 700 years ago in Venice, that made transactions resembling the modern banking.
Yes, and years after that, other banks started to emerge in different places, such as the Banco di San Giorgio in Italy, Severius Swiss Bank in Sudan, and the Bank of England. These three might be considered as one of the oldest banks ever established in the whole world. And for those money heist fans out there, the show isn't that far from reality. Fun fact, Central Bank of Spain, which is the Bank of Spain in Money Heist, is also called the Chamber of Gold, since a vault containing most of the Spanish gold reserves, ingots, and also oil coins, like an oil coin from the 12th century.
History of banking focuses on the historical events of the banks and also financial intermediaries of bankers and financiers, as banks undergo different phases and developments that emerge throughout the years.
Our guest for today would share some most sensational milestones and breakthroughs in banking history. And not just that, We would also hear some advice on banking. Anyways, we will talk all about banking. Banking, banking, banking.
So, without further ado, let us call on our first guest. He is known as one of the most respected historians in the world of banking, Mr. Stephen Rustia.
So, Mr. Rustia, can you tell us what is the first milestone in the banking history for you?
For me, that would be when the central bank was first established, because this helped the nation control and manipulate their money supply and also acted as an emergency lender to distressed commercial banks and other institutions, and sometimes even the government. Actually, the first prototype for modern central banks were the Bank of England and the Swedish Riksbank, which dated back to the 17th century.
Is the Bank of England and the Swedish Bank Central still continuing their operation?
Indeed, both still continued their operations today. Aside from central banks, I think checks are also one of the breakthroughs in banking history.
Tell us about checks.
Checks had its origins since the ancient banking system back in the year 1770. The Bank of England first introduced printed checks in which bankers would issue orders at the request of their customers to pay money to identified payees. In such, an order was referred to as a bill of exchange, in which the use of the bill of exchange facilitated trade by eliminating the need for merchants to carry large quantities of currency, for example, gold and silver coins, to purchase goods and services, which could be cashed in another city or country, making traveling easier and safer from theft.
Wow, we didn't know such history about checks. But I am curious as how banks worked during the catastrophe. Can you share something about that?
Actually, during World War II, checks may have saved the banking industry from complete destruction. World War II and the industriousness it generated stopped the downward spiral effect affecting the United States and world economies. For the banks and the Fed, the war required financial maneuvers using billions of dollars. This massive financing operation created companies with huge credits that needs in turn spurred banks into mergers to meet the demand. These huge banks spanned global markets.
What about domestic banking in the United States during that time?
Domestic banking in the United States had finally settled to the point where, with the advent of deposit insurance and mortgages, an individual would have reasonable access to credit.
Mr. Lucia, thank you so much for your time. But before you leave, do you have any advice for our viewers regarding banking?
To all the viewers out there, please, before you put your money on something, study or learn first how and where it came from. This would put you in a not risky situation. And if it must, learn their history.
Exactly. Very well said, Mr. Rustia. Well, personally, I really research and seek some professional advice before investing or entrusting my money. How about you, Aliana? Do you usually research first or you just take the risk right away?
Of course, I research first. Actually, recently, I have been researching about credit cards because I am planning to get one for myself.
Really? I am sure our next guest would help you make a decision because he is one of the founder of Credit Card. And yes, you all heard it right. He worked at Diners Club, a charge card company owned by Discover Financial Services. Let us all welcome Mr. Jerome Salafong. Hello, Mr. Salafong. Welcome to our show. But let's get to the point already. Can you tell us something we don't know yet about Credit Card?
Hello everyone. Actually, the first credit card was used and issued by my company way back in the 1950s, wherein the card was used to eat in 14 different restaurants located in New York City. Though the idea of using credit card in order to pay for acquired service or goods has been dated since way back to the early ages of working society. And as the years go on, the idea of credit is known. Companies then provide cards which patrons may use within the institution or linked partnerships.
I had encountered an unfamiliar word for me, which is credit score. And they said that credit score depends on how you pay your credit card. Is that true?
Yes, it is true because credit score is a number assigned to a person that indicates to lenders their capacity to repay a loan. Credit score is one of the most important numbers in our life. It dictates us if we can get a loan and what rate we'll pay.
But how did credit score even begin?
Well, it started in 1956 when engineer Bill Fair teamed up with mathematician Earl Isaac to create Fair, Isaac and Company, with the goal of creating a standardized impartial credit scoring system. Within 2 years, they had begun selling their first credit scoring system.
I never heard of that before. Thank you so much for that information, Mr. Salapong. We also want to know what is the difference between a credit card and a debit card.
Debit cards acted like a check signature or a guarantee card where the bank promised the funds would cover the transaction without the customer needing a check to complete the transaction. The First National Bank of Seattle issued the first debit card to business executives with large savings accounts in 1978. We can use debit card in what we call an ATM or automated teller machine to withdraw our money.
Now we are talking about ATM machines. Can you tell us about its history?
Automated teller machine evolved from manual tellers as they grew outdated but still is in use today. It is brought by technological advancements. The first ATM machine was first set up in London at Barclays Bank by John Shepherd Barron, and it was introduced to US by the pioneering Donald Wetzel in 1969 at Chemical Branch in Rockville Center, New York. And since then, the world of banking was transformed.
That's a lot of brand new information, not just for me and Athena, but also to everyone watching our show.
I agree. So, the improvement aspect of each milestone or breakthroughs in banking that all our guests have shared to us has greatly influenced the world of banking industry, not just in its principles but also in the apparatuses used in this field.
Well, my advice is don't skip your due date payment as this will affect your credit score. Credit score would help you get a loan if you're needing a fund for your future home or car. Also, use credit card only for your needs, and let's be a wise spender.
That's true, as overages of credit payment has its penalty, and we don't want that, right? So as we move on to a more modern banking system, as technology is also evolving, theft and fraud is also common these days. Our next guest would share to us a chip that was invented to protect us in instances like this. And not just that, Miss Janine Salinas will also share to us how banking now in the modern banking industry.
He is a well-known financial manager who also specializes in anti-fraud division. Please welcome our last speaker for today, Miss Janine Salinas.
Welcome to our talk show. We are really interested to know if how does this chip protect our money from theft or fraud.
The problem with theft and fraud in the world of banking has been rampant throughout the years. As it deals with money, the creation of EMV chip, as in EMV, which stands for EuroPay, MasterCard, and Visa. This small chip is used to protect both credit and debit card confidential information from being stolen. It also provides extra security when transacting and processing payments.
But how can we ensure that this chip can protect our money?
In the present improved version of this chip, which has been made available on all credit cards affiliated with EMV, the card usage has increased significantly both locally and internationally.
That is actually good to know. But for me, I feel more safe with my money when I can see it and access it through my mobile.
Oh, don't worry, as technology is evolving, so is the banking industry. We now have digital money and mobile banking.
Digital money? What is it and how does it work?
So basically, digital money refers to any means of payment that exists in purely electronic form. Digital money is not physically tangible like a dollar bill or a coin. It is accounted for and transferred using computers. One well-known form of digital money is the cryptocurrency Bitcoin.
So since when did digital money started?
The concept of digital money has existed since the earliest age of the internet. Several digital cash companies were founded in the early 1990s, the earliest and best known of this being DigiCash. However, most of these clearly initiatives failed or declared bankruptcy quickly because e-commerce had hardly integrated into the internet and there were few retailers that would accept them. The advent of PayPal brought forth the idea of easy-to-make digital financial transactions.
How can we fund our digital money?
You can fund it through your mobile banking, which can be easily accessed by getting permission from your bank. But did you know that before the introduction and unveilment of the mobile web services in the 1999, mobile banking was completed primarily through text or SMS? It was actually known as SMS banking. SMS banking and mobile web were the most popular mobile banking products before the year 2010. But with the development of smartphones with iOS and Android systems, mobile banking applications began to evolve. Clients were able to download the banking apps onto their smartphones with more sophisticated interfaces and improved transactional abilities.
How does the financial institution use this mobile banking?
Many financial institutions make use both of SMS and mobile applications to keep their clients informed of their account activities, or to send out alerts regarding possible fraud or give updates and maintenance of service provision.
That's actually a great idea as we are guaranteed that transactions that are done online are safe. But of course, it's still online hackers are inevitable. We should all still be careful. But Miss Salinas, do you have a piece of advice for us?
I have always advised my clients to never hand over money or sign anything until you've checked someone's credentials or their company. If you think it's a fraud, don't hesitate to report suspicious activity. You'll never know that by not being extra careful can make you lose your hard-earned money.
That's really true. Thank you for that, Miss Salinas. So guys, let us all be careful and never really hesitate to report if you notice any suspicious activity. It is better safe than sorry.
I agree. So, the improvement aspect of each milestone or breakthroughs in banking that all our guests have shared to us has greatly influenced the world of banking industry, not just in its principles but also in the apparatuses used in this field.
Before we wrap up today's episode, we want to thank our speakers who shared a lot of information to us and gave us a time.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone, and please always stay safe. And we will see you again on our next episode. Again, I am Athena Mendoza.
And I am Aliana Lee, and you are watching only the best, concise, and impactful banking information here on
The AFM
AFM Weekly.